When we talk about space odysseys, I need Final Space to be way more in the conversation. When I tell you this show had no right going this hard, it was created by Olin Rogers back in 2016. I always saw commercials for it airing on TBS, but never really paid it any mind until one day I just had a lot of time on my hands and I was like, all right, let me check this out. The way I was not ready. At the beginning of the show, we see this dude just floating out in space talking to his computer in his helmet, and he's being told that he only has 10 minutes of oxygen left. It looks like a war zone all around him. Bodies are everywhere. Ship parts are just shattered. I said, what the fuck is this about? And he's just floating in space, counting down to his death. We get him like bantering with the computer voice in his head for a little bit, and there's always like a little funny moment that happens, and then we get into the intro, the credits. We follow this dude, Gary Goodspeed, and he's a Star-Lord type. I think he's what Star-Lord was trying to be, like that lovable fuck-up type, an outlaw getting by on his charms. He comes across this woman, Quinn Aragorn, in a bar, and she's part of the Infinity Guard, which are like the space police, right? So he impersonates one and tries to talk to her. Then an emergency gets called and she's like, oh, we gotta go. And then she has him thinking he's a pilot of one of the ships. She has him trying to drive one of the ships and he has no idea what he's doing. Then she finds out, what the fuck? You're impersonating Infinity Guard? This lands him 5 years doing hard time on a space station, an Infinity Guard space station, fixing a bunch of satellites in space, and he's isolated except for a bunch of robot crew that's on there and the main computer on the ship, Hugh. So Hugh's acting like his like rehabilitation officer in a way, and there's a robot skeleton crew to help the ship go, and there's a robot named Kevin that's supposed to make him not go insane because he's isolated. He hates Kevin so much. And the show really starts where we see him encountering this alien, and he names the alien Mooncake, and he sees that other folks are trying to get this alien for some reason, and he's protecting him. And one of those people that was after Mooncake is this bounty hunter named Avocado. And there's a dope turn where we see Avocado become a friend to Gary. And I love how friendship is a running theme throughout this show because Gary, he's been alone for 5 years. The only interactions he's had is with all this robot crew. And there's jokes about how that's played a toll on him as well. Even though he sees this bounty hunter, he was excited to meet him. He even forced him to play cards after he was tied up. I'm gonna have to do a video breaking this down. And the dope part about the show is the way that it's funny, it's humorous, and then that shit just stops. Shit gets so real. The stakes just change at a certain part within the first season. And from then on, you see, oh, this show is playing for keeps. And remember when I told you in the beginning, we saw this dude floating in space? Well, you know, it's Gary, obviously, and he only has 10 minutes of air. There's 10 episodes. Each time you see an episode, that beginning is counting down. And Hugh's telling him, you have 9 minutes of air, 8 minutes of air, 7 minutes of air, all coming down to the penultimate episode. This show is the perfect combination of humor, heart, and hurt. I think that's what I actually titled it when I wrote the article for it on Black Nerd Problems. I'm not sure. But this shit, it just goes so hard. And what's so tragic about this is that there's 3 seasons. They didn't get a 4th season. And it was wiped off in that whole like tax write-off or whatever for like HBO. So it's not on the streaming service anymore. But I mean, you know, there's ways that might involve a ski mask that you can see it. And the creator, Olin Rogers, raised money to make a comic book to make the final ending for the show. But this show, I can't describe. Maybe they're saying more about me that I didn't realize that I love things that are heartbreaking and have some humor in it. But like, you know, just the reality situation where there's stakes in it. This show represents that perfectly. And when I tell you the music on this show was done by a woman named Shelby Mary, and for season 1 and season 2, the hard shit happens, and you are just engulfed in the scene because of that music. I remember tweeting at her like, yo, did you just decide to write the most heartbreaking shit? Like, she went over the top like Jim Johnson style in WWE. Like, it's perfect. It is perfect. And she wrote back, yeah. I like shows where there's weight to the situations, and you go in thinking it's going to be one thing, and then you get fucking turned around. And this show, like, it's really something special because there's heartbreak, there's humor, and the journey and what they're trying to do. And the growth we see in the character of Gary, the character of Quinn Aragorn when she comes aboard, and when we find things out about Avocado. Again, when you talk about space operas, this is one that needs to be in the conversation. And my hope is you're gonna go check out this show. And I think I have to do a breakdown on the show and these dope scenes and the scene where things just turned around entirely. And you knew like, oh, this just became a different show.